John Deere is the go-to company for farmers all over the world. Their main goal has always been to adapt to changing times and ensure that their business stays strong in different markets, protecting their assets and making the right investments. They've managed to stay on top for years, partly because they've been so good at attracting customers. But now, farmers are starting to stand up for themselves and make their voices heard. For years, American farmers have faced a huge issue. The tractors, planters, and other essential equipment they rely on can break down, but in many cases they can't fix them on their own, or even get permission to do so. While John Deere equipment is known for being top-notch, even the best machines need a bit of TLC now and then. The problem is, many of the men and women who work the land aren't allowed to repair their own gear. A lot of manufacturers, including John Deere, design their equipment so that only dealerships have the special tools needed for repairs. This leaves farmers in a tough spot. Whether it's a harvester, planter, or tractor, the equipment is locked down by John Deere, even for the simplest repairs. If farmers can't get help from the company, they're left with a broken machine taking up space and nothing they can do about it. The rise of advanced technology has been both a blessing and a curse for John Deere's loyal customers. But now, after years of feeling mistreated, farmers are fed up. They're ready to push back against the corporate giant that's been taking advantage of them for too long. John Deere has seen its reputation take a hit with its main customer base ever since it started its new policy of being the only ones allowed to repair their own equipment. This has sparked a major conflict with the farmers who bring in billions of dollars for the company each year. In response, farmers have started a movement to fight for their right to repair, wanting the freedom to fix their machines without being at the mercy of a company. But why does John Deere stick to this unpopular policy? To understand that, we need to take a look at the company's roots, and trust me, their history is far from ordinary. Founded over 200 years ago, John Deere has proudly been an American company for all that time. The founder, you guessed it, was a man named John Deere. And he was quite the guy. Born in the early 1800s, he was a skilled blacksmith by trade. In 1837, he opened his own workshop, selling simple equipment like pitchforks and shovels while offering basic repairs to his community. His big break came when he invented the first steel plow, a game changer for farming. This innovation helped him take his business to new heights, and he kept making improvements, developing new tools that helped farmers all over the world. John Deere's success only grew as he created the first ever John Deere tractor, selling 160,000 of them in just 30 years, a huge success by any measure. By the 1920s, John Deere had built a solid reputation, and the company continued to grow, with farmers trusting them for reliable products. In 1927, Deere introduced the John Deere No. 2 harvester, which once again changed the game for farmers. With all of this success, it's no surprise that John Deere became a go-to name for the farming community, which depended on the company's quality products to make their lives a little easier in the demanding, often grueling world of farming. Anything that made life easier and faster was always a big win in farming, especially in an industry that has struggled with labor shortages for so long. In 1957, John Deere introduced the first ever hay baler that could be operated by just one person, a task that used to require a team of people. This new machine saved farmers a ton of time and money, all with just one piece of equipment. This period also marked the rise of suburban America, where people were starting to settle into close-knit communities and take more pride in their lush, well-kept lawns. This shift created a new opportunity for John Deere in the world of landscaping equipment. In 1966, the company launched its first lawn tractor, marking the start of their dominance in the lawn care market. Fast forward to 1993, and John Deere introduced an upgraded version, the John Deere Gator. This rugged vehicle was designed to handle all kinds of weather and terrain, making it perfect for farmers who needed something tough enough to carry heavy loads over long distances, no matter the environment. Think of it like a small, nimble golf cart, but with the added benefit of a large bed in the back to carry gear, saving farmers the hassle of walking long distances or using a wheelbarrow. With this rich history of innovation, John Deere earned an unmatched reputation among its competitors. For decades, they were the kings of the industry, a vital part of many farmers' operations. So, what went wrong? When did they start to lose the trust of their customers? The answer isn't simple, but it's clear that their fall from grace has been a complicated journey. Farming is tough work, and it often involves periods of intense pressure and tight deadlines. That means farmers need their equipment and heavy machinery in top shape to handle the demanding workload. Even one tractor breaking down during a busy season can cause massive delays and throw off the precise schedules that farmers rely on. If a farmer only has one tractor and it fails, it could spell disaster unless it's repaired right away. For generations, farmers have been able to fix their own machines. They've learned how to replace broken parts and make repairs themselves, often becoming experts on their equipment. In fact, it's not uncommon for a farmer to know their machines inside out, able to take them apart and put them back together. But those days are quickly becoming a thing of the past, especially if John Deere has anything to say about it. John Deere claims ownership of all the software that runs their machines, which means farmers can't access it when there's a problem. This has caused a big issue. Even though farmers may have purchased expensive tractors, some costing between $100,000 to $600,000, they don't fully own them. Why? Because they can't get their hands on the software needed to repair them. So, even if a farmer knows exactly how to fix a problem or has the right parts, they're still stuck. They can't do the repair because the software, which is owned by John Deere, keeps them from getting the job done. This whole situation has been a massive headache for farmers, costing them both time and money. Every hour and day that passes without being able to harvest or plant means thousands of dollars lost. It's like buying a brand new car only for one of the wheels to go out. Normally, you'd just buy a replacement tire and swap it out. No big deal, right? But imagine if you had to tow your car to the dealership just so they could access a computer and reset your car's system. It's an unnecessary and frustrating delay, especially when you're already in the middle of a busy season. To make matters worse, John Deere doesn't allow any third-party companies to work on their equipment. They've banned anyone from making repairs except for authorized John Deere dealers, creating a kind of monopoly. These dealers are the only ones who can make repairs, and they depend on that business to survive. John Deere has even installed a software lock on all their products, which blocks anyone but their dealers from accessing the equipment. This is the main issue that farmers are taking to court. They're fighting for the right to repair their own machines. In response, John Deere's been doing everything they can to dismiss the case. Instead of listening to the public and letting farmers maintain their own equipment, the company tried to have the lawsuit thrown out. But in November 2023, a district judge ruled against John Deere, denying their motion to dismiss the case. The judge agreed with the farmers, backing their reasons for wanting the right to repair. The judge in this case saw a lot of evidence that John Deere was essentially monopolizing the market and putting farmers in a tough spot, all because of their greed. Tractors have become essential tools for farmers to meet the growing demands of society, and they're now more valuable and necessary than ever. Over time, tractors have evolved with cutting-edge technology that few people truly understand, unless they have a degree in computer science. While these technological upgrades have certainly benefited farmers, John Deere has refused to let them fully access their machines' software and systems, even after farmers have paid top dollar for them. Instead, John Deere wants to keep all the revenue from repairs to themselves. They don't want farmers or independent mechanics to be able to make money fixing the machines. This greed has created a major problem for farmers and third-party repair shops. Now, instead of being able to call someone locally for a quick fix, farmers have to make an appointment with an authorized John Deere dealer, which can take hours or even days to get sorted. This waiting time wreaks havoc on the farmers' urgent work, often costing them thousands of dollars in lost productivity. And that's not even considering the added expense of calling a dealer out for a repair. Farmers are fed up, feeling that once they purchase their equipment, it should belong to them. They believe they should have access to all aspects of their machines without needing to ask for permission or jump through hoops to get repairs done. The frustration and anger among farmers right now is through the roof. The frustration among farmers has reached a boiling point. Some of the more tech-savvy farmers have started hacking their own tractors, determined to find a solution since John Deere won't help them. These farmers have resorted to pirating software from Eastern Europe that allows them to bypass the software blocks on their John Deere machines. They're not doing this out of spite, but simply to repair their tractors quickly and cheaply on their own. One farmer, Kyle Schwarting, has said he fully believes in the software he's used to hack his tractor and shows no regret for his actions. This software, developed under somewhat mysterious circumstances overseas, isn't easy for American farmers to obtain. But they've gone to great lengths to get their hands on it, even purchasing it on the black market. This just shows how far these farmers have been pushed, to the point where they're now turning to illegal sources to keep their operations running. And who can blame them? Their livelihoods depend on their ability to harvest crops, which is impossible if their tractors are locked down by a company thousands of miles away. The situation has become so dire that in October 2020, John Deere forced farmers to sign a new licensing agreement when they bought new equipment. This agreement ties customers into an unfair deal that prevents them from making any repairs or modifications to the tractors or equipment they've purchased. There's even a clause that stops farmers from suing John Deere for lost profits, damaged crops, or broken equipment caused by software failures. It's a tough situation for farmers who simply want to do their jobs without being held back by corporate control. John Deere's decision to add these clauses and agreements shows they fully understand the impact of their actions, but simply don't care about farmers or their customers. This blatant greed and selfishness are something that needs to be exposed. The battle between this corporate giant and hardworking farmers seems to have reached a turning point in January 2023. After years of John Deere telling farmers that they couldn't repair the machines they had bought, there was some hopeful news. Darren Von Ruden, president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union, announced that the issue had been a top priority for farmers, and the good news was that a deal was in the works. This agreement would allow farmers to finally repair their own John Deere equipment with the backing of the American Farm Bureau Federation. Farmers all over the country cheered when they heard the news, believing they were finally getting their rights back. However, things aren't as bright as they seemed. In April 2024, it was revealed that the fight isn't over yet. According to an article from the trusted site Progressive Farmer, delays related to data access are dragging out the resolution of the right to repair case. The article suggests that these delays are not simply a result of the challenges posed by modern technology, but rather a sneaky tactic being used by John Deere's legal team. The plaintiffs claim that John Deere has violated the Sherman Antitrust Act, and this delay is a strategy to run out the clock. By doing so, they're preventing their opponents from having enough time to analyze important data. This data includes pricing details from John Deere and its authorized dealers, which are crucial for the plaintiffs to build their case. Without it, they can't fully establish the damages and antitrust violations that are at the heart of the lawsuit. So while it may seem like progress is being made, the fight is far from over. John Deere's failure to produce the requested data for the plaintiffs and their team of experts looks like a deliberate move to silence the farmers fighting for their right to repair. This is a terrible look for the company, exposing how sneaky and malicious their tactics have become in trying to dodge the courts and swindle customers out of their hard-earned money. It's clear they're willing to drag this issue on for as long as possible. And given that this lawsuit has been ongoing since 2018, it seems they believe they can simply outlast the farmers. After all, they're a multi-billion-dollar company with a team of top-notch lawyers who seem to be finding new ways to delay the case at every turn. Even now, the article highlighting John Deere's shady tactics is already months old, meaning time is ticking as the farmers continue to fight for their rights. But here's where things get even more perplexing. Farmers are absolutely crucial to the U.S. economy, particularly in crops like corn, which generates a staggering $75 to $80 billion in revenue every year. This is a key crop grown in the Midwest, known as Cornville. Given this, it's baffling that John Deere would risk its strong reputation by using these underhanded tactics. Angering their most important customers is simply bad business sense. Other crops, like soybeans and wheat, also rake in significant revenue. Soybeans bringing in $50 to $51 billion, and wheat around $122 billion annually. These crops are critical to the U.S. economy, making it even more mind-boggling that John Deere isn't working alongside farmers in a more cooperative way. Instead of alienating them with shady business schemes, it would make far more sense to keep customers happy. After all, building loyalty and trust with the farmers would only lead to more long-term profit, whereas these cheap tricks risk losing customers to competitors who offer better, more ethical solutions. If John Deere doesn't resolve the right to repair issue to the satisfaction of their customers, it seems they've forgotten an important lesson learned over their 2 centuries of operation. Keeping the people who rely on you happy is crucial. While the right to repair movement is currently front and center for many, John Deere is dealing with other issues as well, such as the surprising decision to slash over 600 jobs in Illinois and Iowa. Instead of keeping operations in the U.S., they've chosen to move production to Mexico. This downsizing has shocked loyal employees, leaving many scrambling to find new jobs as the company looks to cut costs. When asked about the layoffs, John Deere explained that the rising cost of manufacturing made it necessary, but that hasn't softened the blow for the workers impacted. To make matters worse, it's expected that even more employees will be laid off in the near future. The news of job cuts came alongside the rumors about the shift in production to Mexico, a move that stings for a company that's long been considered a pillar of American manufacturing. John Deere has been a cornerstone of American industry since it was founded, just half a century after the nation itself. The news has left many longtime John Deere customers in the area feeling devastated. For years, John Deere had been a reliable source of work in these small communities. The company's iconic logo, a leaping deer on a field of green, has been around for over 180 years, a symbol of the company's rich legacy. But this recent move feels like a betrayal to those who have supported the brand. Chris Lon, a retired John Deere employee, commented on the impact of these layoffs, noting that the shift of production to Mexico will have a significant effect on small towns in Iowa, where people have made their living working for the company. Chris Lon's predictions about the future of John Deere's impact on small-town America may very well come true, as more companies watch closely to see how the leader in farm equipment manufacturing handles its current situation. Despite John Deere's claims that its financial struggles, reflected by a 15% drop in revenue in the second quarter of 2024, justify the mass layoffs, a closer look at the company's financials tells a different story. According to records, John Deere made a staggering $1 billion in profit in 2023, indicating that the company is far from struggling. This makes their decision to cut jobs and move operations abroad seem less like a necessary business move and more like a calculated attempt to maximize profit at the expense of employees and local communities. In public statements, John Deere has defended the layoffs and the move to Mexico, citing rising operational costs and a declining market outlook. However, many suspect these reasons are just a smokescreen for corporate greed. The company's leadership is accused of prioritizing their own multi-million-dollar paychecks and bonuses over the well-being of employees and customers. This decision is seen as particularly egregious given the way the company has handled the ongoing right to repair issue, with many customers and employees feeling disregarded by the company's approach. As the right to repair lawsuits continue to unfold, the broader industry is watching closely. The potential fallout from these decisions could have far-reaching consequences, not only for the farmers affected by John Deere's policies, but also for the agricultural equipment market as a whole. The industry's future may hinge on how companies like John Deere respond to the growing demands for greater customer autonomy and fairer treatment. The potential implications of John Deere winning the right to repair lawsuit could have far-reaching consequences, not just for the company, but for the entire industry. If John Deere is successful in its defense, other companies might see it as an opportunity to implement similar practices, locking customers out of accessing their own equipment software and making repair services exclusive to authorized dealers. This would increase the company's profits by monopolizing the repair market, but it could lead to widespread customer dissatisfaction and distrust, particularly among the farming community. On the other hand, if the farmers succeed in the lawsuit, it could open the door for greater transparency and autonomy for customers, allowing them to access their equipment software and make repairs without interference from the manufacturer. This could lead to a shift in how intellectual property is viewed in the agricultural equipment industry, potentially making it less exclusive and more accessible to the people who own and use the machinery. However, some might argue that this would diminish the protections that companies have over their innovations. creating a complex balance between intellectual property rights and consumer freedom. As for John Deere's decision to move operations to Mexico and lay off thousands of American workers, this has sparked significant backlash from loyal customers, especially those who have supported the brand because of its American-made legacy. By shifting production abroad, John Deere risks alienating its customer base, who feel betrayed by a company that once represented reliability and support for American workers. The move seems to signal a prioritization of corporate profits over the welfare of employees and customers, raising questions about whether this shift will ultimately harm the company's long-term reputation and profitability. Regardless of how the lawsuit concludes, it's clear that John Deere's business practices are stirring significant controversy. The company may face increasing challenges to maintain its image as a trusted brand if it continues to prioritize short-term gains over the well-being of its customers, workers, and broader community. The outcome of the lawsuit and the company's ongoing business decisions will likely shape its future. But right now, it seems that many of its customers and employees feel increasingly disconnected from the company that once championed their needs. What do you think? Will John Deere's tactics backfire, or do you believe the company's strategy will work in the long run?